Prime Minister Modi visited Israel in 2017, marking the 25th anniversary of full diplomatic relations. The two nations are passionate about brutal occupations of Kashmir and of Palestine. India is one of Israel's biggest arms exports clients, spending about $10 billion over the past decade. Indian police forces, guess what? They've been receiving training in Israel for anti-terror operations, which Israel also conducts against Palestinians. And of course, homes are places of terrorists, schools are places of terrorists, checkpoints are places of terrorists, shops are places of terrorists. We can all be called terrorists. In fact, I was very disturbed when Bush, was it Bush? It might even have been Obama actually, when he was asked, can you please specify the look of the terrorists that were actually bombing in Pakistan, in the regions in Pakistan? And somebody in the room actually described them, well, they're probably in their 30s with a beard and they're definitely male. Well, okay, just wipe out everybody. Just wipe out everybody. In fact, I went to, with Imran Khan to Pakistan in 2012, I think, to protest against the drone attacks. And it was incredibly moving. And I remember there, the media was obsessed that, wow, white people coming to help us, yay. Please stop. Please, my brothers and sisters. Do you not know yet that we are not the answer? The skin is not the answer. Do we not understand that? We are giving away the power of our voice every time we turn to people and say, thank you, can we have some crumbs off your table? Are we not, as Muslims, as men and women, as human beings, viable, important? This, I believe, is a crucial question in why Kashmir is failing to get the attention. Of course, if it was nearer Paris, it would have been cured by now, or nearer Tel Aviv for that matter, right? But it's just about far enough away for us not to bother. We're not grateful when people do the right thing. We desperately need to reconsider our West versus non-West understanding and the geography of colonialisms. The years 47 and 48 mark the creation of the nation states of India and Israel. These years scar Kashmiris and Palestinians. They scar them. And when I'm looking out at all of you today, I see so much pain in your faces. So many of you have got families, right? Hands up who's got connections to Kashmir today. SubhanAllah. Allah bless you. Help your families. You know, help us to recover this. Help us to move through this. Help us to repair and help, to bring justice. Say Ameen. Palestinians have been dispossessed of territory and many forced into exile, as you know. Kashmir was handed over from one unpopular ruler without the legitimacy of a popular vote to the Indian state on October the 26th, 1947. The 1940s were a changing point, don't you think, in human history? Part of the unraveling, actually, of the Ummah, the loss of the Caliphate. Caliphate, keyword? At the fall of the Ottoman Empire. I was in Albania recently, and you'd be amazed to know just how many millions of Muslims actually already live in Europe. We have had for hundreds and hundreds of years Muslims in Europe. They're called Albanians. Now they're called Kosovans as well, and Macedonians, because it's been split up. The fall of the Ottomans was part of the dissolution and the disrespect of many different nations, but I see it as being interconnected, and Allah knows best. Goldie Osuri. Anybody know Goldie Osuri? Very great writer. She's Associate Professor of Sociology at the University of Warwick. She wrote, when is an occupation not an occupation? When it is executed by one of the world's largest markets? When is a butcher not a butcher? When he is a prime minister or when he is an ally? The small but growing pockets of solidarity expressed for Kashmiris are heartening, as is the international solidarity for Palestinian struggle, Joining the dots between the occupations of Kashmir and Palestine shows the need for a greater solidarity between these two sovereignty struggles. And I actually have to say that I believe we've been very, very slow in joining these two argumentations together and collaborating. I don't know, people who have been involved in the Kashmir seeking justice, come and tell me, have you tried to work with pro-Palestine groups? Is there an international justice movement or not? Is there a blocking? Is there a racism? Is there an ignorance? What's going on? I don't know. Maybe Soraya might know, because I think you work, yeah, you know. Okay, maybe we'll ask Soraya that question. What is it that is stopping a larger movement catching the public eye? Because what we have to understand is that humanity thrives best in peace. It actually serves only a very small amount of humanity that Kashmir is in crisis. It doesn't do us any good. Humanity is made on a cellular structure to thrive when we do good. Did you know that? Modern science is finding out what the Holy Quran has told us for 1400 years. When you intend to do a good deed, there is a reward. Now, modern science called those rewards oxytocin and dopamine, right? The happy drugs inside us. So we thrive, we win together, and we lose together. We must stop seeing this as East versus West, white versus brown, or being, continually looking for the UN to answers, which they're not going to give us unless we are noisier. So what is the point of another book? This book is important. Read it. Teach it to your families. Talk about it. Act upon it. It is not a doorstop. It is not something to be proud of because you got signed. It is not something to put on your bookshelf for maybe tomorrow. Okay? Trees have died for this. People have put their time into this. The struggle is waiting for us to acknowledge the weight of information in this book. But once you've read it, what then? What then? It's not enough now for us to keep gathering and saying the same things. How many of you have regularly come to meetings about Kashmir for 20 years? Hands up. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Right? Stalwarts of the struggle. But we want new ideas and new energy. And it is for the young to come forward and support us with new ideas. But we must stop sitting down and being grateful when people join. So I'm going to keep it quite short this evening because we've had some wonderful, wonderful talks. What I learned in Palestine was this. I remember being given my first ever copy of the Holy Quran on the streets of Jerusalem by a young Palestinian man. It was a rainy day. It was a rainy day, and I had 40 minutes to get all of my souvenirs before I was going to be interrogated at Tel Aviv airport. I was looking at the list as rain ran off my face, and a young Palestinian came up to me and he said, "Marhaba." And I looked at him and I thought in my English way, oh, no marhaba today. But he wouldn't take no for an answer. "What can I do for you?" I said, "Look, I have a list of souvenirs that I need to get." He said, "This is great news. All the men in the souk are my uncles. We'll go shopping together, yes?" I told him what was on the list, and on the bottom of the list, scribbled with a question mark, was Quran in English. Why was there a question mark there? Because I didn't think anyone had bothered in 1400 years to translate an Arabic scripture of a few million Pakistanis and some Arabs into English. That's what I knew in 2006. And I raise that point because we have to see that people maybe don't hate us. It's not even they don't like Kashmir. It's not that they love India. It's really, literally, they don't know. That's what we are fighting here. I got my Quran in English, alhamdulillah, and it changed my life. But what Palestine did for me is the last thing I'd like to share. this evening, inshallah, before we go to question and answers, is this. I went to Palestine in 2005 as a journalist, seeking that ideal of neutrality, seeking that ideal of fairness, seeking that ideal that we're told to go for so much in journalism, not to be one-sided, and yet the power dynamic is always one-sided. I came to believe the truism spoken by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. If an elephant has his foot on the tail of a mouse, and you say to the mouse, I'm going to stay neutral, don't expect the mouse to thank you. Nobody has a right to be neutral in the situation of Kashmir. We have a duty to speak up against oppression. Don't be grateful when people speak up. Just be grateful to Allah Ta'ala. Jazakallah khair.
Well, Maureen asked me that she would keep her speech very short because she did just take more questions, please. So, if there's any burning question, please. I have it. Yeah. Any questions?
How do you Kashmir to be an independent state? It has been so for thousands of years before India and Pakistan made their way together. And after World War II, 42 countries have become independent and members of the UN. Much less Australia and the population, even of Kashmir Valley.
I want to make a suggestion
Actually, my point is that this is the pain of India. Because they feel Kashmir is not a good Pakistan. But I personally believe Kashmir will come first rather which is independent to revive our state.
So that's not actually a question for me. That's someone who's an expert on this region. Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time with answering that. What I will say that just occurred to me while you were speaking is this: the international arms trade is damaging Kashmir's hopes, and it's injuring people on a daily basis. I would like to think that at least 10% of the people here were members of organisations that were acting against the international arms trade. Hands up, anybody who works against the international arms trade, Soraya? Right. This is something else that is a problem. If we work in a silo of justice where only Kashmiris worry, don't expect the rest of the world to join with us. Thank you. And with your,
Sorry, thank you very much. I think you made a valid point about how if Kashmiris can join with the Palestinians to raise it to the same level. It would be really quite interesting to know from your point of view, because having that on the global stage is quite a challenge.
Soraya, can I ask you to perhaps say a few words about why that hasn't happened, and is there a way of making that easier to happen?
Actually, that's a very important initiative, and it's long overdue. There isn't a kind of joint effort to bring together the two struggles at the international level. The international solidarity movement has focused primarily on the Israel-Palestine conflict. And as I mentioned in my talk earlier on, last year the government of India celebrated 25 years of close bilateral cooperation. And we all know, as our sister Lauren indicated earlier on, that Modi has been visiting Israel and establishing closer ties with Israel. So the importance of the fact that the solidarity movement have not been establishing a kind of joined up partnership is something that is possibly impeding the two struggles in their relation to achieving self-determination. But certainly the impact that the military has had on the people of Kashmir, in Indian-occupied Kashmir, has been greatly. Maybe I mentioned the military, something. But yes, certainly a huge amount of profit has been derived from the sales of arms, and the Indian government certainly has improved its technique when it comes to crowd control and the suppression of dissent. So that's obviously something that needs to be done, and perhaps we could look to cooperate together. I'm certainly up for that, but I cannot hope to say that I can do it on my own, because the struggle to self-determine is a democratic right that belongs to each and every one of us, whether we are Kashmiri, particularly if we are Kashmiris. So self-determination is a democratic right, and democracy ought to really support and facilitate that process. Obviously, it's not facilitated because getting in the way of doing business. And all I can really say, by way of closing my remark, is that there is a definite need for an international cooperative engagement, so that we can always work together on both fronts, because it's the same struggle, and it's also, in terms of its duration, we're talking from 1915 with Balfour, Sykes-Picot, etc. But certainly we're going back to that same time frame.
Thank you very much. Any other question, please? Yes.
I think that at present time there is no question of being Pakistani and not Pakistani or Kashmiri. There is the question of being humanitarianism.